Okay, now we're going to put it all together here. We're going to solve this quadratic equation using a process called complete the square. Okay, so we look at this problem right here, and what we want to do is the very first thing we want to do is we're always going to move this c term to the other side. Sometimes it'll already be over here. In this problem, we need to move the 8 to the other side first. That's our first step. Okay, we're making room so we can complete the square like we showed in the last video. Okay, so let's subtract 8 on both sides. So what we have left, now watch how I write this. This is important how you write this out. Where this 8 and -8 canceled out, we're going to put a blank in there. Make sure you put a blank in there, right there. Okay, equals, and then 0 minus 8 is -8. And we're also going to put a blank on the right side of the equation. The reason we need to have two blanks is we're going to add a number in right here, but we need to keep our equation balanced. So if we add a number into the left side, we also need to put it on the right side. Okay, now think back to the last video. What number goes in our blank? Okay, remember the pattern was half of our b term, so half of 6 is 3, square it. 3 squared is 9. Okay, remember this number should always be a perfect square. Okay, now if we added 9 to this side, we can't have our unbalanced equation, so we need to add 9 to the other side as well. Okay, now we can do a little math here. If we look at the right side, -8 plus 9, well, -8 plus 9 is just 1. The left side, we're going to do like we saw in the last video. We're going to write this in factored form. So we're going to think of how can we factor that. So if we want to use the x method, we can put 9 on top, 6 on bottom. We know that 3 times 3 equals 9. 3 plus 3 equals 6. That works. Okay, so this was called factored form. The way we're going to write this, it's going to be x plus 3 squared. Okay, now we're super close. This should look really familiar. This is what we did last week, right? This is how we're going to solve this for x. But the 3 is trapped because it's squared. So remember how we undo the squared. If we square root both sides, the squared and the square root, remember those cancel out. So we have x plus 3 is equal to the square root of 1. Well, we know 1 times 1 is 1. But remember, if we squared a positive number, we need both the positive and the -1. And then we're going to split and solve. X plus 3 equals 1. X plus 3 equals -1. And we got a couple one-step equations. If we subtract 3 on both sides here, we get x equals -2. And if we subtract 3 over here, we have x equals -4. Okay, we have our two answers. We solved this problem using completing the square. We could plug either of these numbers in for x, and both of them are going to work.